Hello, all. A very warm welcome to all of you. My name is Anand, and today, along with my colleague Nandish, we will take Learn to Make Impressive Videos on Your Own session. Our sponsor for today's webinar are Visitech Solution, which is a managed services company. FTB Communication, FTB Translation is a translation company focused on Japanese language translation, and Rian, which is end-to-end, which is an end-to-end translation platform that helps automate the translation of documents and videos. So we are creating a series of Unleash Your Creativity sessions where we would like to introduce you to different tools and techniques in the coming months to help you create and edit videos. So we'll take your feedback and decide the topics in the coming weeks. And we'll also keep on recording those sessions, so this will be helpful for you as well. We have created a WhatsApp group for coordinating the information. So we'll share the invitation in the description below. So please feel free to join, and you will also get notified for the next sessions with that WhatsApp group. In addition to teaching these tools and techniques, we are also keen on creating and generating job opportunities for you in the future. So if you are interested, please stay tuned. Please be part of that group as well. Let me quickly introduce you to the instructor. Nandish Bhatt is the instructor for today's session. Nandish is a creative video editor and currently working with Rian. He is engineer by profession and stage drama artist by heart. He has won several awards and has also been involved in creating Amazon Prime's web series. He started his career with TCS and currently working primarily with Rian and FTBC. So without further delay, I would like to hand over the session to Nandish. Nandish, over to you. Thank you.
Hello all, welcome to this session of video editing basics on Adobe Premiere Pro. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you Anand for the wonderful introduction. So I came across this quote the other day on the internet that editing is like killing your story and then very slowly getting it back to life. Which I found quite, really apt to the process of editing, because in editing first you need to gather everything you want to put in the video, and then you just have to kill your entire video and then manage to place right thing at right place and do necessity modification, fine tune, and to put it to all together to generate a meaningful video. But let me tell you that it is really interesting process. I mean, you get involved in it, and when you get the output of your amazing video, it is really satisfying thing. So before jumping to the next slide and starting our discussion, I would like you to watch this video which we did around 2 years ago when we introduced the Rian Tools email translation feature. It is a simple video yet an effective one made with a simple tool. So let's have a look in it. Okay, so now let's start with our discussion. So let us see what the course content for this training session would be. First thing is what is video, which is the very basic thing we need to understand to start with video editing. Then we can go to what is video editing, the process of video editing. Process of video editing, we will have a quick glance at it. Then technical terms you need to be familiar with while using any editing tool. I mean, it is not very specific to the Adobe Premiere Pro, but any editing tool, whether you are, if you are doing the editing process on any tool, you need to be familiar with these technical jargons which are being used by the tool owners or any industry expert or industry worker which are working on video editing. All you need to have for Adobe Premiere Pro. So that is the specifications you need to have on your system, your laptop or desktop to host Adobe Premiere Pro software. Breakdown of user interface, we'll have a look at user interface of Adobe Premiere Pro specifically. Let's get hands-on, where we'll jump into the software and see the process of editing with a small video and try to get output from that. And at the end we'll address the question and answer. So let's start with what is video. Video is a combination of audio and visuals to convey the particular message or story. Now this is a very simple, but we need to understand this definition, because the question which you would be having is that where is the story in some what is the story in some explainer video or marketing video, or suppose if you are making a video of some recipe. But story doesn't necessarily mean the story of a movie or series or serials that we see. Story is something that we want to convey through our video, a visual story. So you need to be very clear about what you want to convey through your video, through your outcome, be it your any dance video you want to post on YouTube, or some recipe video from your kitchen, or some marketing video of your product which you are working on. Each and every video needs to have a story or a message which you want to convey to your target audience, and you, while making, means being a video maker, need to be very clear about that story or message and how you need to convey that. And visuals, you need to keep this in mind while editing, that audio and visuals are two primary part of video making, video mixing or video editing. And any software, any online tool, the timeline or the the UI of the tool will be designed in a way that you will be addressing edits on audio and edits on visuals, and at the same time monitoring audio and visuals. So audio and visuals are the primary thing you need to focus while editing the video. You need to look at your video with that eye of audio and visual. Now what is video editing? So video editing is an art of mixing audio and visuals to come out as a meaningful outcome and making it an amazing experience while watching for a viewer. So it doesn't only focuses on meaningful outcome. That is not all. I mean, I'm not saying that we need to use fancy tools or fancy things in the frame, really high-end camera. No, those things are not needed to make it appealing. Making it amazing experience or appealing to the audience means to get best out of what you have. I mean, any basic editing tool will be providing the facility of placing and cutting. You just need to find out the proper cuts in your video and find out the proper places of your visuals to put to make it really good experience for your audience. So just don't just mix your video, don't just mix audio and visuals, but mix it in a way that it becomes meaningful and it becomes a good experience. I mean, sometimes it happens that we have two different options. One is just putting things on timeline and conveying the message, and another one is putting things on timeline in a way that it conveys the message for audience, and it makes the video very interesting. So audience will stick to it till the end and get proper message that you want to convey. So let's see the process of video editing. Now I have kept this table on this slide purposefully, because this is how the editor sees a video. It will divide everything, every media you have, in two parts. video and audio. And most of the time, I'm not saying all the tools, but most of the time it will be placed in this way. The upper line, the upper slide will be having video part, and lower part will be addressing all the audio clips you have. Sometimes you have audio and video mix in one clip, then the tool will automatically divide it in audio and video. Obviously it will keep the placement together, but yes, your video and your audio will be divided in two segments, and you will also have to take care of both. As we discussed in the definition, you have to monitor the video as well as your audio. I mean, you need to check the quality, check the balancing, check the timing of both simultaneously. You need to keep on checking every time for every frame you progress, for making your keeping your video really crisp and interesting. So let's see what with a video editing tool, what we can do with these two video and audio thing. So with video you can perform these functions. You can add your video. First and foremost thing is to add whatever you have in your software, in your tool. You can cut your video, you can have your planned cuts at different points. You can remove unnecessary part from your video, because while we are shooting or while we are recording, capturing the video, there will be too many things, too many unnecessary patches that we need to remove. So after cutting it and splitting them apart, you need to remove unnecessary part, and then you need to join in order to fill in those blanks that has been created by removing the unnecessary part. So remove and join the desired audio. Animation is something which comes in next step. It is not something that you do at a basic level, but yeah, animation is also something you can add. Some simple animation like text and moving text, something that you can do. So basically with video editing and animation is a word that scares many people, those who are into video editing, because when it comes to animation, only thing we can think of is some animated movies done by Disney and that level of animation. But no, that is not the only animation that can be done. To keep it very simple, animation is when your video clip is changing the property by time to time. So suppose your video clip is placed at one place on your screen, and if it is changing its position, then also it is an animation, and it is really simple to achieve in any tool. If there is a text of your video title and you are just moving it from the bottom to upper side, that is also an animation. And those basic level of animation you can add in order to make your video more professional and impactful. Color correction is something that also you can touch base on very basic level, where you are where you have captured your video. Because when we capture our video, it depends on the device, camera device which we are using, that what temperature and what color combination it captures, and it is not necessary that every time it will be appealing. Suppose as if someone is doing a video again on a recipe, so all the colors which we are capturing from our camera, phone camera, will be quite flat. You need to make green color more prevalent in when you are showing the vegetables, or similarly fruits, colors of fruit or colors of spices. You need to color correct your frame in order to look in order to make different things in your video appealing and catchy. So that is also something we can address. Although this animation and color correction is not a basic functions you need to perform, or not in the basic training, but yes, you can always explore, or maybe we can have a separate session on animation and color corrections, how to do it easily. Now with audio, similar thing you can do with audio. So that is again adding, cutting and removing part are same, joining. Now with video it is animation and color correct, but here with audio it is fine tuning and mix. So what is fine tuning? Sometimes when you capture a normal audio, normal recording in your room or in your house, you will get a noise, suppose sound of fan or some some machine is running in background. So that constant noise sound you can get, you can try to remove that. You can increase the volume of your speech to make it easily audible for the audience, because sometimes when you are quite far from your mobile phone and you are capturing the audio on your mobile, it is possible that it won't capture the amount, means it won't capture the voice at that volume. So there is an option in editing software to increase the volume, increase the amplitude, that's what they call the level of sound. So you can increase the amplitude and up to the limit which is allowed, but you can increase it in a way that it is easily audible, means if someone is watching that video on their phone with hands free, they'll be able to easily hear your voice and they won't have to make an effort. Same way you need to mix. If you are adding some background music to your video, you need to keep in mind that background music is in background only, because sometimes background music is so much prevailing that original audio or the voiceover which we want our audience to listen is not easily audible and it is overpowering the audio. So background music needs to be lower down and your voice needs to be audible enough. I'm not saying that it is too much amplified that then also it is not a good experience for a viewer, but everything needs to be within the limit, and that setting the limit of each and every audio is mixing. So that mixing part you can do with your audio. Next is the technical terms, the technical jargons which you need to be familiar with. So let's see one by one. These are the things which when you are in the conversation with some other editor, and when you are working in an industry, you need to understand these jargons in order to make the process smooth, make the conversation smooth, and make it look more professional. First is media bin. So for any editing software, you need to import your file first in the software. Import means adding those files in the software. Just like we copy paste an image in a Word or PowerPoint file to put it there, here we cannot just copy paste. First we need to add those files in the software. When we add those files in a software, what software does is it has a library. It maps that file with the file location from your system in that library. So let us say that software is creating a separate space for your project where it will put all your videos and all your audios that you need while editing, regardless of you use them in your edit or not. So that dedicated place in your software is called media bin, where entire media is there. Next thing is timeline. Now timeline is something really important, and it is not just a word or just a thing on your screen, but it is a logic. That's what I believe. Over the time we have learned that cracking the logic of timeline is really important and really useful, because once you crack that, you can implement and experiment many things. So to understand the timeline, let us take an example of cinema film, which used to be there 10-20 years ago in movie theaters. So there is a negative film, or let's say what we used to have in our camera, the negative. The role of that negative, so if you remember, every detail of video used to be placed on those negatives. There were photographs on those negatives, and when you run those negative strip, it creates the movie. Means in projector room they used to roll this negative strip, and we were able to see the movie. So though that line, that negative rule, has been replaced by the timeline of digital software in the digital era. It's like in Adobe Premiere Pro. So this is the timeline of Adobe Premiere Pro, or in any software you will find something similar to that. So the upper part, you can see this double line that differentiates the audio and video. So these lines are the layers. On downside there are sections for audio, and upper side there are lines or sections for video. So on timestamping you can see, so timeline is basically with timestamping of video, it progresses and according to the length of video you can place the visuals. So basically you can keep your visuals on different timings, and at that timing in the video those visuals will be played. Same way you can put your audio clips on specific timing, and on those timing those audio clips will be played. and the combination of those clips that has been put in on the different time steps on the timeline will generate the entire video the way you want. So suppose you want a clip to start at 2 minutes, you can just put it on the 2 minutes timestamp. You can move this blue cursor right and left, and you can adjust it to the place. You can adjust your clip, drag and move. All these things we will see when we will jump into the software. One more thing, while understanding the timeline logic, that we need to keep in mind that again we'll take the example of those cassettes or those films, negative films, that for those negative films there was a reader. There used to be a reader for, like, if you consider audio cassettes as well, there was a header with reader part in tape recorder. Similar way, while adjusting anything on the timeline, you need to keep in mind that the reader of those particular timeline of the for those elements you are putting will be from upper side. So everything you put on timeline will be seen from upside down. So that means that if these layers that you see, V1, V2, V3, if you are putting something at V1 and then putting some another image on V2, then you will be able to see at a point of time, you will be able to see only V2 if those are on similar line, or you will see the image in V2 layer first and then it will be overlapping the layer V1. So same way we arrange the object in PowerPoint or Word. When there are multiple objects, multiple images, we need to arrange them back and forth in order to see some portion of one image and another some portion of the another. Same way, these layers are the arrangement layers, where how you want to see on the screen your elements. So that is about timeline. Obviously it is not even easy to understand just by the theory, so when we will jump into the software you will be able to see that. Next is viewfinder. Viewfinder is the output window where you can see all the progress that you are doing, all the changes that you are doing, all the animations that you are performing, all the placements. So viewfinder is basically the video window that you have in any editor project. So in editor, most of the editor applications are quite different than the other application that we use. Supposing Microsoft Office, any software, when you open, you will be asked whether you need to open some recent project or some new project you need to create, and then if you select to open new project, you will be directed to a blank sheet or blank presentation or blank page to create something. But here in video editing software, you need to save your project first if you want to create a new project. If you want to open any recent prevailing project, then you can click on that project name. But if you want to create a new project, then you must save that project first and then you can progress. For editing software, project saving is a different thing, and getting a video or audio or media output is a different thing. So suppose if you are doing some work and you do Control S, that doesn't necessarily mean that you will be able to get your video from there. It will save your project in the format of that particular tool. That particular tool extension will be added with those project name, but you won't be able to get the MP4 or MP3 file that you want to get from that project, from that video editing tool. So project is a different thing. So what to do to get an MP4 file? You need to render. So any editing project, or if you say editing software, be it a Photoshop or Illustrator for editing image, or audio editing software or video editing software, there is always a need of rendering. Project saving is different thing, that is been done by Control S, and rendering is generating your video output, generating your audio or whatever output is desired from that software. So it takes time. Once you set up everything on timeline, you need to make your reader or make your progress bar run through the entire timeline. You can watch it in viewfinder, and once you are satisfied with the product, you can put your file into the render. So it progresses frame by frame, it renders frame by frame, and it generates the video output. And the rendering is going to take some time. So in editing, it means putting things on timeline and adjusting things is not all. You need to give some time to your software. So whenever you are working on project, you need to have the time window of rendering, because only after rendering you will be able to get the files. Sequence. So sequence and timeline is these two things are very much similar, yet you need to understand one different. Sequence is a set of timeline, that's what we can say. I mean, timeline is part of your sequence. So once you import some sequence in Adobe Premiere Pro, then and then only you will be able to get timeline. Again, to understand it with the help of this movie reel example, this reel that you can see is a timeline now in the software, and this wheel that you are seeing, that around which it has been wound, the entire reel, is sequence. So basically combination of means entire timeline, and the sequence is holding the timeline. So those are the things. So people get confused with these terms. Are more or less same in any editing environment you go, and will be useful, because when you are, suppose you are working on a video with a team and you need to transfer your data, then you need to understand the difference whether they want the project file or the exported file, and things like that. So just be acquainted with these jargons. It will help you while you are working on a project. Moving forward, all you need to have for your Adobe Premiere Pro, to host Adobe Premiere Pro in your system. So basically system specifications that we need to have: 6 GB or more RAM. Sometimes it works with 4 GB as well. Some laptops of HP and Dell with 4 GB RAM are good enough to work Premiere Pro, but it is always better to work with 6 GB RAM, because yes, software will be installed on 4 GB, but it won't be a good experience for you as an editor to run it on a RAM less than 6 GB. The more the RAM is, the better the performance, the faster the performance is. 1 TB or more hard disk, because these days the software and the operating systems and the data, the amount of data that we are having, 1 TB of memory has become a necessity requirement for any laptop or any system. But on the top of that, we need to keep at least 40% of memory free to work on such softwares, because while running it will occupy the space on your memory as well, and at the same time it will need RAM. So if the memory is full, project file will not be able to map your data, and it will be very much what we can say is confusing for the software, and that's where it starts hanging. So keep on taking backup, keep your hard drive as much free as possible. It will be good not only for editing software but overall performance as well. 2 GB of graphics card of any company. I mean, AMD is quite popular with the Windows, and Mac are coming with inbuilt graphics, but 2 GB of dedicated graphic space will be required to have a good performance of at least Premiere Pro. There are a few software which can perform without graphic card as well, but then there are limitation of functionalities of animation. I mean, you can just cut paste a video sometimes, or sometimes it may hamper the video as well. It's better if you can get a graphic card or graphic space of 2 GB, it will be good. i5 or i7 or any processor above i5 will do, so that is not an issue. And the most important thing, download the official Premiere Pro version, because in market there are many people who can give you a cracked version. You can get cracked very easily. I mean, it is not that much of trouble, but once you get cracked, there are on its own limitations. I mean, it is not giving as good performance as the original one. Also, you won't be able to update it by time to time. You won't be able to get access to new feature, the bug fixing and all, and it is also not an ethical thing if you are using for your business. So you can download it for free, you can use it for free, you can try out different plans. They have a plan for students as well, which is quite economical, so you can always work out that part. Also, there is a list of free software which you can use, and you can always refer to this Adobe as a standard UI. You can compare things and you can go ahead with that. Adobe, as I said earlier, is a very easy tool, easy to use tool, yet professional tool. So that's why we generally emphasize, because we have used many tools, and number of online tool also we explored. So they all are really good and really efficient, but Adobe has played a consistent role as an editing support. So that's why it is really easy. Just write down adobe.com or Adobe Creative Cloud and you will get to the website and you can explore it from there. Now let us see the breakdown of user interface. So obviously we will see it in software itself, but before jumping into the software, let's first get acquainted to it and what partitions that we need to keep in mind. So this will be the screen once you enter the project of Adobe Premiere Pro, and this is how it is. There may be different place of these icons. They can be placed here as well in a generic way. I have kept it here because it is convenient for me. So you can move it as per your convenience. I mean, you can move any segment anywhere. These labels that you are seeing are the layouts, different layouts. So currently we are in editing. It is standard editing layout of Adobe Premiere Pro. There is color layout, effect layout. So they have placed different segment at different places to make it, you know, easy to perform specific operation. But as a beginner or do general editing layout is must. So if you enter and find some weird layout, just go to a window and workspace and then select editing layout. I will show you that in the software as well. So this layout is basically, we can consider this layout is broken down in 4 parts. This part is source and property segment. Let us say it's source segment and property segment. This selected one currently which we can see is library section. Here where program, there is a tab of program, is viewfinder part, and below is the timeline as the title suggests. Let us see one by one what is the use of all these 4 segments. So first one which we are referring as a source segment or property segment. Here there will be a screen where you can play your source file. So once you have imported, you have to import your file to work with in Premiere Pro. Once you have imported your file in the software, then without any operation you will be able to see the file in this segment. In source window you will be able to select the start and end point for that file. Also along with this file you will be able to monitor the property of that particular file here, like audio bars and some effect that you are going to add, the color correction of the file. Everything is accessible in this particular segment for the source file. That's why it is source segment. It is used as a means dealing with source files. The viewfinder part is where you will have that window. Once you import a sequence, once you generate a sequence, new sequence, you will be having a screen here, and thoroughly you will be getting a playback here. So the playback part will be seen in this viewfinder part. You can adjust the size of it and make it at your convenience. Sometimes when people do editing with 2 different display, what they do is they take out this part in different screens. So in one screen they can just edit the timeline, and another screen simultaneously they can see the outcome. The library part. So as the name suggests, library part is a combination of libraries. When you import any file, it will come here under the project name, right? So suppose you have 10 different video clippings which you need to merge and make a good video. All the 10 video clippings with audio and with background music audio file, if you want to use, must be imported here. So you import in software and it will be reflected here in this part. Now along with your imported file, it gives you an option to access any file from your computer from a media tab. Along with the media tab, it has effect libraries, so you can pick any effect from that. It is a effect preset is there, and you can create you can pick any effect, you just put it on your clip and go ahead with that. So effect library is also there. Different library you can access from library tab, and you can always get some new sequence or new layers here. So everything you would need will be stored in this small window. And finally the timeline. So here your timeline will be set. You will be able to add a sequence here, and then once sequence is added, as we had seen in the previous slide, there will be layers of on timeline. You can add your audio, video, mix it, do whatever you want to do, right? So this is overall breakdown of the layout. Now let's get on Adobe Premiere Pro and let us see how we can work on our video. So let's jump there. Yeah, so this is the first screen that you will get while opening Adobe Premiere Pro. Here is a list of project which if you want to open any recent project or previous project you worked on, you can open it from here. You can go to open project and explore more projects that you did. And if you want to work on new project, just click on new project. So after clicking it, it will give you this dialog box where, as I said, you need to save the data first. So you need to save your project first. So you can go to browse and let us select the folder sample that I have created for this. You can select any folder from your Finder library. You can give any decent name to your project. Let us give trial 1. Just one more advice: try to keep your name in line with all your projects so that it is easy for you to find out, because sometime it happens that we have a number of projects. When you are working on multiple videos, you have different number of videos, and if you want to access them directly from the software and not going to that folder, then it is difficult for you to identify which project was which. So that's why shorter yet an impactful name, decent name is necessary, where it is easy for you to access your project anytime. And if you select OK, you will be able to view this window. So as we saw in the PPT, the layout is somewhat like that only, because I have kept this editing layout, and these are 4 partitions. So let us see. I have a video of a story of a patient, a woman who was a brain tumor patient, and with Rian tool, the Rian translation tool, we were able to achieve the Hindi voiceover from that. So suppose I want to mix that video with those voice. So let us import those files. So firstly, I'll need the original video file as well as the audio file of different language, right? And so I need to import those files first. So to import, either you can go to file and import, or you can just press from your keyboard Ctrl+I or Command I, whichever is convenient for you. You can just click in the bin itself when it is empty. So from sample, let us say this is the audio file and this is the original video file that we want to import. So it is importing the file. Now before start working on this, I will have to import a sequence. So as we discussed, sequence is a set of timeline. Suppose if I don't import the sequence and try to drag this thing directly on the timeline, let's see what happens. I dragged it and it created its own timeline. Now the problem is, it has created own timeline, but the property of that particular sequence or timeline is according to the original video and not the one that we desire. Sometimes when you are working on a video, there will be a specified video quality output which you will have to get to your client. So to get that, it is very important to have sequence of similar output. So there are few parameters like screen size, type of video, and frame rate. Frame rate is how many frames per second you want to move. So it majorly depends on the device that you have used, but if you don't have any specific specifications for that, you can just go to new, select sequence, and there will be these many options, these many type of sequence you can import. Generally, for regular set of videos, this option AVCHD, and in that 1080p, there will be two options, 1080i and 1080p. So 1080p is good one, and Frame rate for YouTube video or general marketing videos, keep 30 is fine. Means any video recorded in mobile will be working with 30 fps. You can also move with 24 fps and 60 fps. These three are very standard rate on which any mobile phone records the video. Average sample rate and generic sample rate is 30, so you can go ahead with AVCHD 1080p 30. So that will give you 1080 output and 30 frame per second. Just name your sequence. Suppose I will say Hindi sequence 1. You can give any name. Again, it should be easy for you to retain that. So now this is a sequence, and when I'll drag this here or want to put it here, it will show me this dialog box which is asking the clip does not match the sequence setting. Change sequence setting to match clip setting. So the clip is having a different set of properties and sequence is having a different set of properties. So there is a clash between those two properties. Now there are two options. Either I change my sequence setting according to the clip, or I can change the clip setting. I'll change the clip setting afterwards and keeping sequence setting as it is. So always it is better to keep sequence settings as it is or keep existing settings to keep it uniform. Otherwise what will happen, again it is similar to just dragging the clip and accepting its properties. So let's keep setting, and if you see this window size is larger than the video. So it is because this size of window is in line with our sequence setting, and this is the property of the video. So this is how this entire property things and specification things work in Adobe Premiere Pro. But there is nothing to worry. Here are the property sets, and we can always adjust it from there. You can take your mouse point to particular property value and it will become like this, fingertip with a roller icon. Roller icon are given because if you just click it and drag your mouse right and left, it will increase and decrease the value in the property list, and at the same time you will be able to see the difference of size in your viewfinder. Or say you are changing the opacity or position, real-time view will be seen here. So suppose it is 153, you can also double click it and type the value. If you are very sure about the particular value, you can do that. So just to check few more things, let's delete it from here. I'm just deleting it, and let us, now we have explored this, right? I mean, we have imported things here. Now effect and libraries we'll see we can see later on. So see, let's explore more tab as well. Here you have imported, so this library is set. You can get information about your video, particular selected video. So you have currently selected this one, so it is giving settings about information about that. If I'm selecting the audio, it will give audio specifications, right? You can use different preset libraries of Adobe. It will give you access to different number of libraries, and different images, graphics are there. You can use them, explore them whenever you want. Adobe has a separate image sets and Adobe stock, so you can explore that as well. You can set up your own library. You can create new library if you are having a set of data which is useful for you every time, every project you do. You can create a library and keep that data there always, to avoid every time importing it and then managing it. There is an effect library where there are n number of effects you can give. To categorize, there are some Lumetri preset. Lumetri preset are the lighting effect, the color effect that we give. For preset, now there are a number of presets Adobe provides, or you can download online. So what does preset mean? Preset is a set of effect along with the specified properties. You just need to imply those effects and don't need to worry about properties. Generally with effect, you have to drag effect from here and put it on clip, and then from here you need to adjust the property to get desired output. But sometimes people just have a set of property locked and create a preset. So just you need to apply it by dragging it, and don't need to worry about the value. The values are preset, values are locked, and you just get the output you want from that preset. There is a history of your actions, so you can just check. Sometimes when you are doing number of operations, you forget which one you did and which one you didn't, and sometimes some operation may be causing the problem, so you want to delete particular one, you can do that. So this is your action history. It keeps on adding things as and when you do things. This is media browser. This media browser will be useful to you when you want to import something from your library, from your folders, from your system. If you have something and during the project you want to import that, or say if you want to open some another sequence on another project, so opening a sequence will be a difficult task. You can open that particular project, but opening sequence will be done from media browser. To simplify it, let us say from media browser you can access your previous project and open them simultaneously. So here you will see multiple sequences, right? So if you need some animation from a previous work and you just need to add that, you can directly get it and just copy paste it. Here is the caption. Caption you can add on the clip as and when required. So let us now explore this source option, source segment. Similar way to the imported bean, library bean, this segment is also offering number of tabs which we can explore one by one. But basically what does this segment do? Whenever you select something, some file from imported bean, media bean, it will open up the playback screen here or information screen here for that. Also, when you are importing some other project or other sequence, as we discussed from your media library, that also will be played in source monitor. So basically they refer this part as source monitor and this is viewfinder monitor. So everything other than timeline stuff will be played here in the source part. Let's try to see. And then so in source part they are having their own control, so you can just move cursor and start playing the video. Let us see this video.
Today I want to introduce you to one very brave lady who fought with a very large brain tumor.
So basically it plays your video and allows you to select a portion of the video. Suppose I want to select the part when this visual of this lady starts. I need to take my cursor there and then press I from my keyboard, I, and then I need to check for till which point I need to have. So let us say again at this point where she is appearing again, we need to cut our video. So I can move the cursor, I can to make my selection accurate, just zoom in the timeline. You can zoom in the timeline by adjusting these two knobs and dragging and compressing this bar, or you can just put your two finger on your touchpad and just take them away, so it will easily allow you to adjust this bar. So, and after dragging it, it gives you a really good picture, so you can accurately move your cursor. I mean, your movement will not be your movement will be more accurate, frame by frame. You can move your cursor. So let's say this frame when she appeared for the first time, I want to have till this point. So once you have set your reader there, you can again zoom out. Sorry, you can again zoom out your timeline, and then you need to press O. O for output is the key to end your selection. So you mark input and output here. Now after marking it, if you drag the video from source monitor to timeline, it will drag only that much of portion and not the entire video. You can see this much of things has been transferred here. Again it will ask, so we can keep existing. This will ask for the first time when you add something on timeline. Then it will set up those setting as permanent one. Now, if I want just the video and not the audio, then I need to take my mouse here. So these are two options, video and audio. Again, everything is parted in video and audio. So you can drag this particular, you can select this and drag your mouse. So only video will be dragged to the timeline. Similar way, if I want just audio, so I need to put my mouse here on the audio icon and just put the audio. If you want both, then you can just keep your cursor here and drag it, so both things will be transferred on the timeline. So let's remove those things on the timeline from the timeline, and we need entire video. So to remove the selection, just go to that selected part, just right click and clear in and out. These are in and out marking. You need to just clear in and out marking, so everything will be cleared. Also, different size of screen is convenient for different size of viewfinder size. So there is no universal size. I mean, if I keep it 10%, your screen may be convenient with 25% or 75%. So to make it fit to your screen size, always select fit option, so it will utilize maximum part of your screen to show viewfinder window. We'll come back here again. Just quickly let's explore a few other options. So it shows the data of source file, audio file. The audio bar here is only one audio bar due to the channel setting of the original video, but there are few more. There is a metadata of that particular source file you can refer to. There is a lumetri setting. This is high-end lumetri graph of different colors, how they are placed and with different value. Now this is altogether different learning and different topic, which is called color grading of your video. So basic information of your colors, you can get it from here, and you can change it from the lumetri section here, or you can add lumetri settings here. You can go to effect control, and currently it is not showing, but when you are placing a clip on timeline, you will be able to see the different sets of property. Just like we adjusted that screen size, you are able to see that here. So these many options are available in source file. I guess we have seen the usage of viewfinder and timeline, and we'll keep on seeing that. So let us go ahead and let us go back to the source video file. Now I just realized this star sign beside the file name Adobe gives you, just to indicate that your video or your work hasn't been saved yet. You can have an autosave option, but yet it is advisable to keep on saving your file. It is just Command plus S or Control S, and it will save within no time. But sometimes it so happens that due to too many operations or something that happens with the software and system, the combination of that it stops working, it hangs, it crashes down, and at that time, if you haven't saved your data, maybe your hard work of half an hour or 1 hour or more can be lost, and you have to revisit and redo those things again. So after every 5 minutes, please have a practice to save your project. Now let us drag the entire video file on our timeline. It is again asking us keep existing setting, and we have the video and audio both. Okay, now we want to remove the English audio, but for reference I have kept both. Otherwise I would have directly just dragged video part and kept it here. Let us jump to this button is to jump to any other tab. There are too many tabs and large names, so it is the software is unable to accommodate everything here. So you can just jump to effect controls and select your clip. Yes, so this is a master clip. You do not need to touch that part. You can just select your particular clip, and you can select. So always keep selecting your sequence name. Always keep your sequence name selected. This is master slide. Please don't change anything in the master slide. You need to adjust the scale, and let us say 154 we are keeping. So this is now you can move the cursor from time to time. to do particular change. This is the viewer. This cursor is kind of reader, and wherever you put that cursor, the data at that point of time will be played in viewfinder, right? So just like a button in any media player, this cursor works, and you need to jump from one point to another point just to adjust it. Here is the timestamp, so you can see that entire video is lasting up to 2 minutes and 6 seconds and few frames. So this is frame, these are frames, not the millisecond, right? We have kept it 30, so you can see after 30th count here it will be shifted to 0. So it is 30 frames per second. In 1 second there will be 30 frames. That's how frame per second works. I mean, frame per second is a standard of, it is like speed of reel which you are running. Let us now import this audio file as well. Now it is not always necessary to select that and import it from here. You can directly drag it from here as well, but from source file you can always import selected part. Keep on selecting the effect control panel because it will be easier for you to always accommodate. Now here the audio is more or less fine tuned, right? There is very less thing to do, but if we want to compare, now there are two audios on your timeline, and if you want to compare the audios, what you need to do is, if I'll play, both the audios will be played simultaneously, and you won't be able to hear the differentiation. Currently
today I want
आज
to
मैं आपको एक बहुत ही
introduce you
बहादुर
to
महिला से मिल
so the chaos happens when we start speaking about we start playing both the videos, and both the videos are having the sound. If you might have noticed, this Hindi video was silent till the music part, so we need to add the music part. Now I am keeping this audio file, original audio file here, but I don't want it to be in the output. I want it to be on timeline for reference, but I don't want it to be in output side. So what I can do is I can just select M, mute that track, right? The important audio clippings required in that track, I will just shift them down to have it in my on my track, and then till export section I will just I'll just keep it on mute, so it won't be exported. Now let us have understanding of these buttons first, and then we'll quickly make the video. So these are different kind of buttons your cursor can turn into, right? So current selection is just a selection tool. Now there is a ripple tool to slide it. There is a track selected flow to just track your progress. Razor tool to cut. Snip tool to just split the screens. Pen tool to draw something. Hand tool to just drag things up and down, and text tools. Every tool has the different usage and number of usage, maybe you can say, but in generic way, to make it simple, the selection tool, the razor tool, the text tool, and very rarely but sometimes pen tool will be useful for you to do your regular videos, and mostly you will be using this select tool and razor tool. So with select tool you can select this clip, you can move it up and down, side by side. You can just shorten the length when you move your cursor to the edge of particular video clip. Suppose this border, it will be turned in this circular square bracket type cursor, and after that you can just select, click the mouse and drag, then the clip will be trimmed. So now it is starting from this, and then you can adjust at this part, right? So, and up to the maximum you can drag. Now beyond this it is not possible because the source clip length is not more than this, so you cannot drag it beyond source clip length. You can always cut short it and then drag it to the point you required. So suppose I'm trimming the end to make it line, so I just need to click on the edge, and then maybe I can drag to the point till where I want this to be. Always you will be able to see the playback. Now when dragging, what it does, it will show you split screen in playback. One screen is the frame just before your mouse cursor and another one is just after your mouse cursor. Now why this? Let us see. But to see that, we need to understand one more thing first, that is razor tool. What does razor tool do? So it is a blade, it is a razor blade, and just like it cuts things, cuts paper, it cuts the clip. So when you select razor tool, you just need to put your tool. So see, there is an impact line of that razor tool that has been shown by the software on the timeline. So wherever the line is, when you click the razor tool, it will split the clip, particular selected clip, from the line. So suppose now the line is on audio clip, this Hindi audio clip, and I'm clicking it, so it will split that particular clip from that particular point. Let's do Control Z, and let's say we trim somewhere where the person is changing. Suppose, let us say I'm trimming it from, I'm splitting it from here. Now the clip has been split. So instead of one clip, there are two different clips. Now to go back to to perform any other operation, I'll have to go back to this select tool. When you are working on multiple clips and you need to do multiple cuts in the clip, it is always tedious to go every time here and select the different tools. So there are shortcuts. To select the razor tool, you need to just press button C from your keyboard, and to get back to the selection tool, you just need to press button V. So it will be just as easy as pressing a single key from your keyboard. Now if I want to select this part and I want to just trim it with that option of end trimming, I'll start moving this part, and now you can see both the frames. So one frame is the frame which is here, and another frame is the frame where the next clip starts. So you will get the idea of the junction point, that what frame will be merging with what, which frame will be merging with which. Suppose I want it in a way that when Dr. Jaydev speaks, this frame clip should end, and then the lady's visual must start. So I'm just adjusting it. You need to keep on adjusting, and whenever you see it, you find the correct frame point, you just drop it, and then maybe you can drag it here to join, right? So cutting and joining and removing the unnecessary part. Sometimes you need to now there are two ways to remove. We saw the way to cut, we saw the way to join, just dragging it, cutting it. But to remove a part, one thing is just like we did, trimming it with end. Another thing is when we are very much clear about the point, that from this point I need to jump to directly this, and in between I want nothing. I mean, I want to remove the part which is there in between on the clip. Then again select razor tool. You have already splitted the part at the start and just split the part at the end. It will create a separate clip. You can select it and just press delete to remove it from your timeline, and then you can just move it and merge it, right? One more thing, when you have deleted the clip in between, there is a gap in between, and you need to merge this clip with this without dragging that. So what you can do is you can just click on the blank space in between, and it will turn into this white color, and then you can right click, select ripple delete, or simply just press delete button on your keyboard, and those clips will be merged in a way that the gap in between is filled and they are joining exactly end to end. So that way you can use this razor tool and selector tool to merge all the clip. Now let us say we need to put initial background music here with this clip, and then rest of the part we need to keep as it is. So let us do one thing. What we actually need to do is we need to separate out the initial this background music part, move that down, separate out this part and remove it, right? These functionalities we need to do. So to separate without removing, we need to use razor tool. So we'll select it. We can just separate it here. Now here you can see when you apply razor tool on the audio, the video also gets cut itself. This is because the video and audio has been interlinked because we have imported it as a single file. To separate out audio and video from a single file, you need to select that particular file. Let me do Ctrl Z so we can select entire file. Select, right click and select the option from drop down menu, unlink. What unlink to is unlink separate out the linked audio and video part. So now the audio is separate, video is separate. You can move them separately, you can select them separately. So let me just again click C to have my razor tool back, and I can zoom out, zoom in to get an exact point where the music stops. And these waveforms, from these waveforms you can get the idea that somewhere here music stops, right? Again I'll get back by pressing V. Now here we need to cut and remove both. So in that case we can just drag it with the select tool. I mean, you can always razor cut with razor tool, and you can just delete that part as well, but this way is more convenient when you need to remove and remove particular portion, not just separate out. I just dragged that clip down, so this muted track won't be played and won't be generated as a video, but this will. Again at the end, if you see,
इसके बावजूद भी वो घूम रही है.
there is no music at the end. But if we mute this track and listen to this, when the visual of the doctor stops, it will start the music.
Woman.
Right. So at the end as well, we need to cut that music, separate it out, and we need to drag it out. So again, this clip was separated from here, so the unlink option has not been implemented here. So let me just turn into selection tool. I need to unlink the part. Now selecting the razor tool, trimming this portion. Some blank I need to have because here the sentence is being completed here in source file, but with the target it gets completed here. So I'll keep that much of a small sound blank, and then maybe I can put the music to match it end to end. So this way you can put multiple cuts, you can join multiple clips after putting the cuts. One last thing, to add caption or text, you just need to select this text tool. There you can select this text tool, and where on the screen you need to decide that where on the screen you need to put text. Suppose we want to put text here, so you just need to click there. It will automatically put a text box there, and suppose I need to write the end there. Now the clip has been selected, and the selected clips property will be seen here. So from position you can adjust its position, moving it down and aside. You can always select the size, so the size is getting changed. Also you need to select, you can select text and select different font size from the drop down menu of source text. So let us say we want to go with impact, so the font size will be changed. Similar way you can just change the size, you can change the color from the appearance tab and select any particular color you want to have. Let's keep white for now. One more thing is, the clip will be there on timeline as well, which will decide for how long that text will be shown on the screen. So you need to move, you can just trim it a bit, you can elongate a bit, because this is a text, there is no limitation of video, so you can elongate it, you can stretch it, you can trim it, and you can place it on the timeline wherever you want. So suppose from this point, let us say we need to have this, so yeah, you can see the end text here. Similar way, you can use it wherever you want. You are showing different, if you are showing different object in your video, you can put it, you can place that particular text in any part of the screen. Suppose instead of downside we need to show it upper side, you can always do that. So after after getting the satisfactory combination and mix and merge of different audio and videos, you need to find out a final you need to get a final video product out from the software. Now Control S or saving will save this project with the extension .prproj, which is the extension of Adobe Premiere Pro. So there will be a project. If I go to MediaBin, and if I select that particular folder, so see, there is a project, and there are source file, and there is an autosave folder which is being generated by the software itself, but there is no output video file. So as I said, saving a project file is different thing, and getting the output video file is another thing. To get the output video file, you can go to File, Export, and Media, or you just Control M or Command M, you can just paste. So this dialog box will be seen here. You have different options, different format options there. Generally, to get an MP4 output, you can select this H.264 or H.264 Blu-ray. Blu-ray is a higher quality version of video. You must have seen some Blu-ray prints of really good quality HD quality films which we download on our system. So similar way, if you are doing really high-end editing with which has been recorded with high-class camera and high-end equipment, then you can go with H.264. For home recording videos, you can always rely on H.264, just simple one. Here also there are different options where you need to put, I mean, you want your audience to see on mobile devices, then you can select out of this. Twitter, if you want to post it on Twitter, you can select this. There is option for YouTube, Vimeo, and different platforms. For keep it generic and keep it overall high quality wherever your viewers are seeing, I mean, be it on laptop, on TV, or anywhere, just match source high bitrate. So match source, right, what does it do? It creates the highest possible quality that source file allows. I mean, sometimes it is like you are recording with a lower quality camera and you go for really higher quality resolution, there will be grainy output. So match source generates the highest possible quality of output with highest possible quality bitrate. You can have mid-rate, medium, or adaptive, or low bitrate. The higher the quality of the video you keep, the longer the time it will take while exporting it. So from here, output name, you can, when you click the output name, it will take you to your directory. You can go to particular folder and let us keep, generally by default the sequence step will be reflected as your output, but you can always change. So let us change to Hindi video trial 1 and just save it. There are also different option of frame stamping and estimated file size it gives. You can add effects from here, but these are very complicated operation which we do not generally need to do as a beginner or as a simple video producer. I mean, there are different render quality settings, and there are end processing, means post processing of audio and effects and everything. But if you don't want to get into that, just simply click export button and it will start rendering your file. So rendering can take time. The rendering time depends on many factors like length of the file, the type of clippings that you have. Here it is simple video and audio, so it won't take much time. It is 1 or 2 minutes. But when you are using different effects and different elements and number of elements, the time can change, and also it depends on your system, that how fast the system is. One advice is, while keeping it on render, try to keep it on a cool place, I mean moderate temperature, not very high temperature place, or if there are external fans that you can have connected with your system, it is advisable, because while rendering the temperature of system increases. It heats up the system, and the more temperature, the longer time it is going to take. Because it is hard for the processor. And so in desktop there are coolant fan, but in laptop there are external fan system is available, or you can just simply be in a room which is having air condition or some decent temperature. So now, as it has been exported, you will be able to see that file as a MP4 in your media bin, and you can play, so it will be played with your regular.
माई गॉड, एक ब्रेन ऑपरेशन। घर पर मेरे 2 बच्चे हैं। मैं
कंपार्टमेंट यानी दिमाग के ऊपरी हिस्से में था।
And there is this the end text also that we have added. It is quite on the upside, but yeah, now you can see. So the desired output you can get. So similar way, you can get any desired output from your video by rendering it and mixing it. So to conclude, there are some useful tips which will be helpful for you to work on Adobe Premiere Pro, and I would advise that please keep these things in mind. First thing is practice, practice and practice, unless and until you create something. I mean, I have shown you a very short video and very few operations on this to start with, which are really basic. As and when you explore, as and when you start working on the software, you will be having your own questions, and you will be try to address and find the solution. So that's how you improve, and that's how you get good hands-on on the software, on the tool. So practicing is the key to work and get good hands-on and expertise on any editing software. I mean, as Anand said, we have been working on different tools for 2 years, and still we are learning every day. I mean, every day there is something new, some new thing about editing that we get to know, and the learning process is still going on for us. There is very little part that we have known and which we are trying to share. So you also do practicing, keep on exploring new things, and we'll be really happy to see some amazing video work from you. Please share it with us. There is always a solution, because whenever you will start editing, you will start getting the question and problems. So there is no smooth editing. There is nothing like a smooth editing process. At each and every stage you will have a different questions, different problems, and you need to get that thing done in order to have an output the way you want. So keep in mind that there is always a solution of anything, any problem that you face while editing. You just need to find out the way to get that done, and there will be a way, because means in software, either in one or another way, you can achieve the output that you want. This is very important point to get used to keyboard shortcuts, because dragging a mouse to that particular point and coming back, if you sum up the time time passed or wasted in that, the total editing time will be a lot more. So you can always get a handy keyboard shortcut. Let me just show you from where you can get the shortcut panel. So you can go to Adobe Premiere Pro. For Mac users, you can just click the Premiere Pro title and keyboard shortcut, or in Windows it will be in the Edit tab. You can just select keyboard shortcuts, and this page will pop up. Here you can always customize. This is a list of shortcuts, and this is the layout of your keyboard. You can always customize each and every shortcut for each and every key. You can just select it, and just select a command from here and add it. There are different commands for layout specific. The blue part is layout specific and green part is generic. So this is how you can have a look at shortcuts and start using it. So currently we just did C and V, which are tool specific as well. I mean, here it is showing this command and paste, but selection tool is also there if it is not pressed with command. So if I remove command, it is selection tool and razor tool. If I press command, it is control C copy and control V paste. So this way you can get idea of each and every shortcut by simulating it here. You can keep on changing and keep saving as per your convenience, and then maybe once you are done, just press OK, and go ahead with your own keyboard shortcuts. And the last but not at all the least, you must keep on exploring new features, keep updating yourself as well as the tools that you are using, because all the editing tools, the tool generator, they also keep on updating the tool with new feature according to the user cases they get. Adobe Premiere Pro gets updated 6 months, every 6 months, and even more frequently sometimes with new features. So always keep an eye on new feature, as well as always try to explore new features by yourself to in order to make your editing more professional, more impactful, and more accurate day by day. Yeah, so that was all from my side in this session. Thank you so much once again for joining us in this session and giving us an opportunity to share the knowledge with you. We would really love to have more such sessions. We are planning to have such sessions on every Saturday. Also, we are planning to have advanced learning session for Adobe Premiere Pro, because these are really basics, and for the newcomers, once you get good hands on it and you will have questions, you will be wanting to explore new features. So we would really love to address those questions and address those requirements in advanced features. So please let us know how you feel, how you felt about this session, and what is your experience after using Adobe Premiere Pro. What are your questions? You can always reach out to us. Also, we would love to have some collaboration on different videos on different channels, or some video work that we are getting. So we would also always love to listen to you and your ventures and your video productions. So please feel free to reach out to us on ftbinnovations@gmail.com with your questions and feedbacks and future requirement, or any collaboration plan you have, any video production plan you have. We are there to help you. We are there to more than happy to work with you. And if you are having any doubt, any queries regarding this session, you can reach out to me personally on my email ID nandish@rianglobal.com. So both the IDs will put in the description as well. So please keep on exploring new things, keep in touch, and keep on doing good stuff. Again, thank you so much. Please spare some time to send us your feedback about the session. Stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you. Bye.